December 13, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. There was no economic data that came out today to really move the markets. This is what the chart looked like today. There's kind of in the pre-market, a spike, kind of a bounce, and then a sell-off. So it took back the spike. Big sell-off leg down. It got very choppy here. You could say it's a large trading range here, but you didn't find it to be a really large trading range till later in the day, so it didn't really help. There were a lot of little trading ranges that I drew and just kind of a lot of support and resistance lines, but unfortunately the support and resistance lines didn't create consistent corresponding opposite sides to create a true reliable trading range. But there were trading ranges here and there. Overall, the price action was a little funky today because this is quad expiration, meaning futures, options, index, a lot of things are expiring and a lot of people are rolling it over. On top of that, I'm going to drag this down. This is from Thinkorswim. You can see that the ES Z24 contracts are expiring in 7 days. So next Friday, they're going to expire. So there's more volume starting to migrate to the next options contract, which is the H25. But since the H25s don't officially take over completely until 7 more days, you're going to see a split in this volume. And then on Monday, you're going to see this slowly decrease and this one's going to slowly increase till Friday, where trading volume here is going to be much lower than here. Then the week after that, this is just going to expire completely. And then you're going to be in the first quarter 2025 contracts, the March 25 contracts. And that's kind of will be better because right now you're seeing this split in volume and trading between this and the next quarter's contract. So it made for a little bit, I would say, kind of tricky price action because there was some fake outs, some traps, and just stuff that made it hard for me to really trust. I was able to get one trade out, and the one trade, I think it wasn't the best, it wasn't the most cleanest, obvious setup, but I'll get into it. It was like a lower high that I thought was good, and I missed two previous setups. These two previous setups, I think for sure, probably affected my decision to jump in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into the trades right now. So in the pre-market, it's just kind of slow. Then it rallies up. No economic data, hits the pre-market high. So even though there's a first entry long here, I call this as a localized high. I call this as a first entry long pullback, potential second entry long. But in real time, I don't see this quite yet to go long because you're going to hit the EMA, potentially top of the trading range is coming into play. No real setup here, so I'm just waiting. Clearly, I'm in a range now. And it starts moving up. It breaks out, starts moving up on this purple up channel. Really, really small, very, very consistent, steady move up. Hits the pre-market high. Pre-market high is technically here, but localized pre-market high, this little zone. And the first entry long, technically a second entry long, no signal bar. I mean, the signal bar isn't very good to go long. It starts flushing down. So first I was playing this red down channel. Red down channel has a break. And I saw this as a localized high. Technically, on the count, it's a first entry long, second entry long, but I saw this as a localized high. Saw this as a first entry long, pullback, second entry long here. Second entry long. The second entry long looks like it's about to fail. This is only a 9-tick signal bar, and it's a break of this red down channel, so I'm expecting it to test the low. It's also a rejection off the EMA, so I thought there was a possible trade here, but I really, it's a good close, but I wasn't really sure, so I just kind of sat on it. Flush down, it worked for a quick trade. And as it starts moving down, this red down channel has played out. So it keeps moving down and it rejects. So then I draw this green down channel, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. And the bottom also fits semi well. So I'm playing not the red channel anymore, but I'm thinking it's more likely the green channel. So no clean setup. You do have a second entry short here, but it's a strong, it's not a very good signal bar. It's bullish and it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Don't really like that. Moves down, bounces, breaks, moves up on this green up channel. You don't really have anything. Now you have a first entry short. So here's no, technically on a smaller count, if you look at a different tick size, you do have a first entry short, second entry short, but I was kind of thinking break of this green up channel, test the high. Maybe there's a first entry short here. It's a really strong push down. looking for a second entry short. You don't really get a second entry short, and then it continues moving down. Too many dojis in a row, just kind of consolidates. So this is what I did see. I did see a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback. I marked this with an arrow just because I wasn't sure at the time. It technically is a second entry short after this is confirmed, but when I saw this, I was kind of had a weird hunch thinking there's some kind of resistance here. EMA is also acting as a key entry point. Is there's two key entry points. If this had been a red candle, then I think it would have been a more clean second entry short because you have a new low here, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. But I wasn't sure, so I left it alone. It turns out working, but it's also in a very, very tight, like 2.5 to 3 point range. And I just felt it's safer to leave it alone. Then prices move down. So it's clearly outside of this green down channel now. And that's where I drew this yellow down channel. So I had one touch, two touch. Here, it only has one touch. So it's clearly on a bearish move down, but no clean setup yet. I'm not really sure. Has a failed breakout here. You have a new low, first entry short. Technically, this is slightly higher than here. Then you have a second entry short. Second entry short, potential triple test, one touch, two touch, three touch. But I actually counted it from here because I didn't really count this as a touch. I said this one is one attempt up clearly. Second attempt, third attempt. A triple test, second entry short, first entry short, second entry short, really good signal bar. I thought this was a possible trade. It's a strong push below the EMA, potentially just, well, practically just engulfing this previous candle because it actually moved one tick up, rejected hard on this clear support line, and then engulfed it. So there's also enough room for a quick scalp below. So I was unsure about this overshoot though, because I was thinking this overshoot could make a corresponding overshoot on this side. Could it bounce and move back up? Or could this actually be here? I'm not sure. I played it as this one up here. And so I treated this as an overshoot. I said I want a lower high confirmation just to be super extra confirmed. It never shows up. You technically have a lower high here, but you're already at this support area because it touched once, now touched twice, failed to break through. So the trade has moved. Unless you're aggressive and you took this, there was no trade for me. The prices move, kind of chops down, moving inside this yellow down channel. I mean, there's second entries in here, but the context isn't there to create a safe entry. Hits this trading range, punches up, comes back down. It's a failed breakout here, but no setup. Makes a corresponding failed breakout here. It's a first entry long, that's all you get. Moves up on this red up channel, break, test the high, comes back up, makes a second test. So it's a new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short. A clean triple test, one touch, two touch, three touch. I thought this was also a possible trade. It's rejecting clearly off this high here. This could be an actual trading range with the lower part of the range down here. So that's what I was thinking at the time. Because I also thought maybe there's a trading range from here to here, and it broke down and started to dwell. The thing I didn't, I wished, because I was unsure, is I wanted this to, because I wasn't sure if this is going to actually bounce off the EMA. EMA is flat, but previously it was treated with respect as a rejection or a resistance, and now it could turn into a support. So I'm not 100% sure, but I thought this was a possible trade. I just, again, you know, just kind of waiting to see if maybe a lower high will show up. And then you don't get a lower high, it just reverses itself. So this would have been enough for a clean 1 point scalp. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this to kind of remove the clutter. Prices then move up on this green up channel. It looks like it's two clean legs up, one leg up, two attempts down, a second leg up. So it looks like it made two legs up now. This yellow down channel, even though there's a break here, it's so far, like it has an early break and it moves so far down. So I was considering, okay, it might be here. There's a break and it wants to test the low here. So it's two legs up, one leg down, and now it's creating a second leg down, potential second leg down. I saw this as a visual first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Also on a larger tick chart, because I also run a 4,000 tick chart, it looked like it's just one leg, two leg. It looks like here it moved one tick up, flushed down. I thought there was a trade here, even though this is a bullish bar. So I tried to enter this. I wanted to see a clean break below here. So it first opened here, it bounced around, and then when it finally broke below this candle, one tick, I dropped my order at the lows of this. But it was so aggressive, it never came back to pick me up. It moved down, it moved, I think, one point or 5 or 6 ticks, and I knew the trade has already been made, so I canceled it. It was a good thing I didn't try to wait for this one to close and hope the next one to pick me up, because for me, my strategy, the trade's already occurred, it's gone. I canceled it, and I was fortunate because this one definitely would have filled me, and I'm very sure it would have stopped me out. So if the trade didn't happen on this one, it was a good thing I just canceled it, because this one would have made me have a losing trade. So it's kind of like dumb luck that I was actually lucky that the trade was missed. Then prices continue moving. I drew this yellow down channel, hit somewhat. So it's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. It creates a second entry short, and I'm thinking it's in a trading range. This is a fail breakout, but I was playing with the idea that potentially it was up here. So it's the top of the range, and I was playing with this a little bit like this. I actually had this one, and I had another support line down here. But I saw this, and I said, okay, there's a first entry short, second entry short, made a double top. You could argue maybe a triple test, but I just saw for sure it's having trouble breaking through here. It's another key entry point is this yellow down channel resistance. It's a good signal bar. Technically, it's an inside bar. And I actually thought, okay, there's a trade here. I think I'm going to take it, but I want to make sure it breaks below this guy with a break below this bigger guy. So I know it's actually moving outside this big green candle. So it opens, pushes up, flushes down. As soon as it broke below this green candle, I dropped my order at the low of this candle. Unfortunately, the same thing happened here as it did here. I was too conservative. It flushed down. It made the scalp that I would have wanted. So I said, you know what? Knowing what happened here, I better get out. So I canceled it. In this case, it would have worked. As it came back, it touched a fourth time. So I'm thinking it's moving down on this yellow down channel. I said, I'm not going to miss this trade this time. I'm jumping in. When I saw the close here, I said, I think this is going to be a lower high. 4 touch rejection off this yellow down channel. I enter one tick below. It opens, hits, and really rapidly flushes down and gives me my scalp. So I move my stop from one tick below, one tick above here to one tick below my entry. Yeah, and one tick below for a break-even trade, but covering commissions. It pushes down. When it pushed down and closed here, first it opened, it flushed up. It looked like it was going to be a green candle, so I actually moved my stop to one tick above this guy. I was being a little more conservative. Ended up right here. It took out my order and then continued down. So as you see, if I entered a little bit later, I probably would have ridden this down a little bit longer, and my stop loss, would have been up here. I probably would have been able to, I think I probably would have gotten stopped out here or over here. That's okay. As prices continue moving down, there's like first entry, second entry is a second entry short, inside bar, not the best setup, triple bounce here. Nothing I particularly like. There's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I saw a second entry long here. It was kind of a hunch. I thought maybe there's enough room, momentum to push up to the top. What gave me pause was if this is the top of the trading range, technically I already tested it now. So seeing this in real time and then seeing this, I'm not 100% sure it's going to keep going to make a second attempt here, or is it going to flush down like a true second entry long? In this case, if I entered, it would have gotten in. I think I would have gotten the scalp, but then I'd have to sit through this. And then for here, definitely would have gotten the scalp by then. Then prices move up, moves up on this orange up channel. No clean second entries that I like. It's a new high. It's a first entry, pullback. Technically, it's like a second entry here. But this is a bad signal bar, but it did triple bounce off of here. So it's a possible trade because it's a red candle, but it's a bullish red candle. Enough room to the high. Orange up channel had a break and wants to test the high. Whether this is an overshoot or not, next price action has moved pretty far away. So if you dragged it a little bit higher with no break, it has a break and maybe it wants to test the high. So I thought there's a possible trade, bounce off support of the EMA and this potential support line, but I just didn't want to take this trade. Looked like it would have worked, and it just kind of keeps creeping up. So first entry long, you have technically a second entry long inside bar. I don't really like this. It's already broke below the EMA. If this red bar had just touched the EMA or closed above it, and this subsequent candle was still an inside bar, but looked better without such a long tail, then maybe there was a trade there, but I just didn't like it. Looked like if you did enter, you would have gotten filled and probably gotten stopped out here, moving sideways, and it flushes and breaks through, moves up in this up channel. Technically only have first entry short there. Technically have a second entry short here, but it's not a good signal bar. It's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. I don't really like this. Breaks down, first entry long. You have a second entry long below the EMA, not the cleanest setup, and this is really close to the close. And it moves into the close. So today was kind of a funky day. There was these two attempts that I took. Fortunately, I guess in hindsight, it wasn't the worst thing in the world that I missed them. I did get one trade that was profitable. Volume was kind of all over the place because remember, it's splitting between the H24, the fourth quarter ES contract, and the H25, the first quarter 2025 contract. And then next week, I think NinjaTrader will automatically roll everyone over to trade on the ES January 2025 contracts. And even though a lot of people are moving over, there'll still be people trading on the ES24, Z24 contract. So the volume will still be split. And it's just something to be very careful of. So hopefully that was helpful.